Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. So, I don't have to tell you guys that society is breaking down. Not necessarily talking about class warfare, race warfare, or anything like that. I'm just talking about the effects of people being social, right? Talking to each other, having human interaction. We can all agree, I think we all know this, that this hasn't just been a phenomenon in the last 2 years. Okay, this has been going on for 30, 40 years, that we've been groomed to be antisocial. A lot of you guys remember, some of you are my age, older, younger, or whatever, but we remember at least some of our childhood and running around and playing with our friends outside. We remember, you know, neighbors getting together, our parents, if you will, sitting on the porch, having a beer or an iced tea or whatever it is and shooting the shit, right? It doesn't happen so much like that anymore. And this has all been something we've been conditioned to be used to. I go back to the 1980s and the advent of video games. And kids went out and played earlier than that. And then all of a sudden, Space Invaders came around and you didn't see a kid outside because every kid was inside doing this, right? Then the internet came. And the internet was probably the greatest antisocial experiment ever. You could talk to people, you could interact with others without ever saying a word, without ever seeing them face to face. No more that awkwardness of asking the girl to the dance or asking for a date or something. None of that had to happen anymore. People got used to Facebook or MySpace back then. This was the way to communicate. And since then, we've had Twitter and Instagram and, TikTok and God knows what else. I mean, so many different social media things, including YouTube, that have completely taken away our ability to socialize, to interact with one another face to face. You always had the shy kid in class. You always had the people that, were afraid of their own shadow. But you also had a whole bunch of people that were open, talk to anybody, along those lines. Not so much anymore. And this has all been a conditioning. Then you roll into what we had happen during COVID. And again, same thing. Y'all know that was a test. Let's see how compliant the people are. Let's scare the hell out of them. Tell them that going outside their house could kill them. Let's see what we can make them do. And roughly 2/3 of the world complied. Okay. That thing or that thing, whatever. Oh my God, you still see them. I mean, I still laugh when I see somebody driving down the road in their car all by themselves and they've got a face diaper on. Just in case some of that fresh air comes in through the vent and, oh my God, it'll kill me. But I noticed something this week to tell me that this is going to get even worse. That the whole intent is to make sure that we don't have any human interaction. And they'll pass it off as it's more efficient or cost cutting or whatever. All those things we hear, robotics is great. It'll make things more efficient. Okay? Puts people out of work, and it didn't reduce the prices on anything. Okay? The kiosks at McDonald's, right? You don't talk to a person anymore. You type in your thing and somebody hands you your food. You don't talk to them. Did the price of a Big Mac go down? No. Okay. The automation in the auto industry, robots basically put your car together. The price of a car go down? No. Okay. So they present this to us and then prices continue to rise. I went to Walmart this week up in Middlesboro, Kentucky. Okay, it's the nearest super Walmart to me. Okay, so, get everything from pair of socks to groceries to gardening supplies to ammunition to whatever, Super Walmart, one that has everything. We hadn't been there in, probably a month and a half, something like that, and been to the store enough. I pretty much know the layout of the store. The gardening section's on right, the electronics is in the back, the food's on the left, clothing's in the middle, and pots and pans and everything like that are kind of scattered all over. And Mrs. P and I go in there, and I was looking for a pair of tennis shoes. And we went back to where the shoes were. Shoes weren't there anymore. They rearranged the store. Started looking around. It's like, yeah, a lot of the stuff isn't where it used to be. So we eventually found the tennis shoes and bought some groceries, ran into a subscriber in Walmart, which is always fun. Somebody goes, hey, pinball. I'm like, okay, snap into that brain, mindset and talk, but that was fun. And so, okay, we eventually found what we needed, and we go up to the cashier, and I'm one of these people, I absolutely refuse to use the self-checkouts. My answer is this. If I use that, that's putting somebody else out of work. I'll stand in line and go through the checkout line so I can talk to a person, okay? Make sure everything rings up correctly, ask any questions, maybe there's something I couldn't find, that sort of stuff, right? And so I struck up a conversation with the cashier. The question, did you find everything all right? Yet every store asks you that question. And so that was how it started. And I'm like, well, that was a little difficult. You guys rearranged the store. I mean, I know it wasn't the cashier's decision, but that was my comment. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're kind of converting this store. Converting it to what? They're like, well, we're moving a lot more toward the idea of order online and come pick stuff up. Separating people again, taking out the human element, taking out the social element of people interacting. Now think about the last time you went to, let's just say the grocery store, okay? And you bought your mayonnaise and your potato chips and your chicken breasts or your ground beef or whatever. Did you buy anything as an impulse buy? Okay? Oh, yeah, I forgot about this, okay? Or something that, hey, that looks good, I'll grab it. I grabbed some peanut brittle because it looked good, okay? I hadn't had peanut brittle in years, but there it was on the Halloween shelf. I'm like, hey, you know what? I asked Mrs. P, have you ever had peanut brittle in your life? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, so I'll get a pack of peanut brittle. Okay, it was a sale, it was like $5, right? So we get that. But this is the future. This is what we're looking at now. You're not going to have any human interaction. They're not going to allow it. You want your groceries? You get online, you tap in, I want 3 pounds of ground beef, I want 2 pounds of chicken, I want 4 cans of green beans, a head of lettuce, and 2 pounds of carrots. Okay. And come back, your order will be ready in an hour. You drive in, park in slot number 27, they put it in your trunk and you leave. No human interaction. Think about that for a second and how that's going to affect us in any sort of SHTF situation. If you are completely out of practice dealing with human beings, if everything was over the internet, if everything was over the computer, and all of a sudden the Chinese come over the hill, we have an EMP, whatever it would be, and all of a sudden you're forced to communicate, and your communication skills are shot. They've been trained out of you. You don't know how to talk to those other people. You may know your neighbors, okay? But in an SHTF situation, we're going to wind up very close with people we've never met before. And you're not going to be able to swipe left or swipe right for them, okay? They're there, and you're going to have to deal with it. This is what's been trained out of people. Just to not talk, to not interact with each other, to make us basically robots. And the Walmart example, how long is it till it takes, it's not going to Walmart after you entered in what you want on the computer. How long is it till you go to Walmart and they bring out the box of food or whatever, socks, I don't care what it is, that's your rations for this week or for this month or whatever. And you don't even have access to the other stuff. They'll say it's for cutting costs. Hey, we don't have to clean the store as much. That's great. That's what I want. I want my box of Cheerios, covered in cobwebs, and they pull it out because they don't need to make it presentable because, it's just the 6 order pickers in there. Oh, it's cutting costs. Okay? Guaranteed those cost savings aren't going to be passed on to the consumer. What will be passed out onto the consumer is, more job losses. So less people will be working. And see, this is the whole thing. The less people they can get to work, they'll talk all the time. Oh, jobs are better. Right. I created so many jobs. Now you created a bunch of more part-time jobs at crap wages that people are taking. Excuse me. People are taking a second job to get. And those are going to go away. When people have no income, when people have no social skills, you have no choice but to do whatever you're told because you don't have the ability to fight back anymore. You don't have those skills. Communication skills. We all talk about communication. Like, got to have your radios, ham radio or CB or two-way or walkie-talkie or whatever it is. What about face-to-face? Do we have those skills? Because they're being trained out of us. Believe it or not, it's actually one we should practice a little bit more. Get to know people. Meet people. The old timers in your neighborhood or your area, like where I am, there's plenty of people who've lived here, generations have lived here. Get to know them. They know where the skeletons are buried. They know the tricks. They know where to get stuff that you may not know. I'm not talking about illegal stuff, okay? But they know stuff that you don't. Get out, talk to people, just, hey, in passing. Engage and learn and practice, because those communication skills and face-to-face are going to be few and far between. And that's not something you can go to Walmart and buy. That's something you've got to learn, practice, get used to, and do. Pinball out.